Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Injustice 2. I played it on the PS4, it's also available on the Xbox One. So there are definitely going to be a few spoilers for Injustice 1, Gods Among Us, in this part, so if you don't want to hear them, skip ahead a bit to when I'm not talking about the story. That's your spoiler warning. So in Injustice 2, Superman is still locked up in a Red Sun prison. His regime has been brought down, his allies have scattered, a couple of them are trying to make amends for what they did. But overall, Batman and his team, they're trying to basically rebuild when they discover that there's a new threat on the rise, being led by Gorilla Grodd initially, or at least that's what you think. But then you find out that it's much bigger, it's much deeper than that. You find out that in reality, Brainiac is behind that, and he's coming for Earth. I gotta say, I really enjoyed the story in this game. I love the Injustice games because they're a fighting game with a story. I really enjoy that in fighting games in general, and Injustice is kind of, well, one of the best. I mean, admittedly, there's nothing too shocking in this story. It's not like Shakespearean in quality, but it is well written and it is enjoyable. As for the audio in this game, I think it's excellently done. I really enjoyed it. The music obviously fits very well with the whole superhero motif and theme. I like the sound effects in the fights. The hits can be bone crunching or they can be soft when it's a block. It's well done. It definitely works and it fits, but that's not surprising considering this is Nether Realms Studios. The voiceover work was very well done. The only thing I noticed is some of the original voice actors aren't back for this. So some of the voices from like Injustice are not the same as in Injustice 2. The one that stood out most to me was Green Lantern. It's not a huge deal, but it is noticeable. It's not like a real knock against the whole thing though. As for the gameplay mechanics, not unlike the first one, it has a campaign mode which has a story. It also has, your standard single player fight. But it's also got the multiverse system, which is a challenge system where you can go and pick like a world to go to and then go fight specific challenges, basically. Go into specific challenges and fight different characters, different versions of the characters that you're used to seeing. And the interesting thing in the multiverse is some of these fights can have like handicaps or things that can benefit you but can also benefit your enemy. There were some that were pretty tough, and they come with like other smaller meta challenges like no jumping attacks, no crouching attacks, things like that. But I do enjoy it. It definitely increases the replayability. Like, the real goal is obviously to bring you back on a daily basis because they change on a regular basis. They also introduced a loot system to the game, so winning fights can get you loot, or it can get you loot boxes, essentially, that you can open in order to get better gear for your character. And the gear can actually affect your stats. Not can, but does affect your stats, which can really make the game much more interesting. Like, you could go up against somebody who has a bunch of stats into strength or health, etc., etc. A few of the other things are back from the first game, like the super moves and the stage transitions. They're pretty awesome. The super moves are always really cool. Like watching Superman punch somebody up into the air and then keep punching them and then slam them into the ground. It's pretty cool to watch. That one, survivability is very low for pretty much everyone except for like maybe Supergirl. But you also have the stage transitions. Those are back, although I didn't find them on every level. Maybe I just missed some. But I always do enjoy those. Knocking somebody into a whole new stage is really cool, and the fact that they made it do damage to your enemy, that's even better. This kind of is controls and gameplay related in that each of the characters, while they have the same basic controls, each one of them is used very differently. Some of them are very agile, some of them are just hard hitters. It mixes up the gameplay a lot, and it mixes up what you have to do in specific situations because you don't know who you're going to be up against, and who you're up against could be super fast one fight, or they could be slow and like overly powerful in the next fight. Like your next opponent could be completely different from your first. But it's also nice as a player because you can figure out which characters work for you. Each one, like I said, is unique. I've always enjoyed the controls in these games. I think NetherRealm Studios does a great job with their controls. They've been doing this for years, so it's not that surprising. There were a few times where I feel like I got screwed over. Maybe I just fucked up. I don't know. I'm not like the most amazing player of fighting games. I just happen to enjoy them. Last but not least, the graphics. I love the graphics in this game. I think they're excellent. The superheroes look amazing. Their costumes look fantastic. And I really like the loot system because it can alter the way a costume will look. I think that's pretty cool. Some of them look really, really stupid. Don't get me wrong, like some of them look stupid. But overall, I like that it alters the appearance. I like the way it changes, and I just like the overall art style and graphics of this game. And also, kudos for bringing back the Joker, because I love the Joker, one of my favorite characters, so that's a huge pro. But there is one huge negative to the Joker as well, and that is the Joker emo haircut. That is completely unnecessary. I don't know why they did that. And I don't know where to really put this, but I'm gonna address this anyways, but I loved the fight between the Flash and the Reverse Flash. That cutscene is probably the coolest cutscene in the entire game. Like, watching those two characters go at it was just cool. Okay, so to wrap this up, to put it simply, I really enjoyed this game. I feel like I've made that fairly obvious at this point. I absolutely recommend buying it. I mean, it's a great fighting game. I've honestly been waiting for a new Injustice for quite a while now because I loved the first one so much. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me if you played the first Injustice game and who was your favorite character from that game? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.